Raider Nation, thank you so much for tuning in to the Raiders Report. My name is Mitchell Reds. Please follow me on Twitter at MitchellReds365. And make sure you guys subscribe to YouTube.com/Raiders Report. Because guess what? I'm going to be pumping out a whole bunch of new content and special content that you can only see at YouTube.com/Raiders Report. For any of you that are new, you need to understand my Raider rumor scale. 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. This rumor, not going to happen. 1 Chucky head is a small shred of truth. I like to think 25% chance of happening. 2 Chucky heads, people are talking 50-50 coin flip. 3 Chucky heads is pretty likely 75% chance of happening. And then 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby, 100% this rumor is going to happen. The first rumor I got coming up from the board, the Raiders are going to cut Derek Carr. Now, I'm going to give this one only 1 Chucky head, small shred of truth. But I say that because let's not forget about what could happen next year. The Raiders would save $15 million by cutting Derek Carr in 2019. So this isn't for 2018. This is for 2019. Nobody is safe from Jon Gruden. If there is one thing that I have learned from covering the Raiders, it is nobody is safe under Jon Gruden. And if you're not producing, you have a chance of being cut. So Gruden has often come out and criticized Carr, but he's also come out and said that Carr's looked really good and that, he thinks that he could be a franchise quarterback. But when you're just looking at it, the fact that they could save $15 million, that's alarming to me. Now, here are the most expensive quarterbacks in 2018, just in terms of how much they're making this season. Jimmy Garoppolo's up there with $37 million, but then look at Derek. I mean, he's up there as a top 4 quarterback being paid, top 3. He's making $25 million this year, and is that really what you want some guy making? Sure, his completion percentage is great, but just 3.6 yards per dropback against the Seahawks. He's not stretching the ball down the field. I understand they have a lot of stuff going on there. But, Derek, you're getting paid big money. You got to step up. So, should the Raiders cut Derek Carr next season? Give me a heart for yes or a like for no. I want to know from you guys. I've been getting a lot on Twitter, a lot in the comments section on YouTube. Should the Raiders cut Derek Carr next season? Guess what, guys? If you don't want to watch Derek Carr next season, I don't blame you. But guess where I'm going to go to bet on all the Raiders games next year? I'm going to go to chatsports.com/bet. I've been betting on games all year, and I've actually been doing pretty well. Hey, I'm going to be honest, though. I've been betting against the Raiders, so don't get mad at me. And you guys need to go and bet at BetDSI. It's the #1 sports book. It's the only sports book we trust here at Chat Sports. You're going to use promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. It's the best deposit bonus on the internet, I promise you. Chatsports.com/bet. You know what else you can bet? I got another Raiders rumor for you coming up here, and it's Melvin. Rashaan Melvin, is he tired of being a Raider? I'm giving this one 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. Because why? Dude just straight up said on Twitter he's frustrated and upset because I'm just tired of it. And this is one of those guys who I thought has actually been playing pretty well. And this past week, for some reason, he didn't get a lot of playing time. And Melvin, I had him as one of my winners in previous weeks, and PFF has him as one of the highest rated cornerbacks. So, I don't quite understand why somebody's been playing actually pretty well isn't on the field, especially starting. And you could tell that Melvin was frustrated. So, Gruden, man, let's get our best players on the field, okay? Because when you don't, it kind of looks like that you're tanking. Speaking of tanking, are the Raiders tanking this season? This is one that I've been hearing a lot around the rumblings on the internet. I've been hearing a lot on Twitter. So, are the Raiders tanking? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. Now, there was a report that the Raiders are tanking. Straight up. But Gruden just came out and said, ain't nobody tanking. And I get that, right? Gruden said nobody's getting up at 4 a.m. to tank. And I think as an NFL player and as a competitor, you're not going to tank. But when I look at the Raiders team, they're 1-5, last in the AFC West. And I think everybody watching the show can honestly say that the Raiders, from a talent standpoint, I'll say 7 weeks ago, they're not the worst team in the NFL. But they're playing like the worst team in the NFL. So, I want to know from you guys, this has been a frustrating year, and I think it's amazing that you guys still watch the Raiders Report because y'all are diehard fans. So I want to know, how many years have you been a Raiders fan? I know you guys always throwing in those comments, Raider Nation for life, but I want to know the exact number. How many years have you been a Raiders fan? Let me know. Comment below, please. Next Raiders rumor coming up, Marshawn Lynch. Is he going to be out several weeks? Now, Marshawn banged up his groin, and Gruden's a little bit worried about it. Is he out several weeks? People are talking 2 Chucky heads. So, the report is Lynch's injury is something to be worried about, but there still isn't enough information in regards to how long Lynch could potentially be out. It is a hamstring strain, and in Gruden's press conference, he said that him and the entire Raiders team is worried about it, and I'm worried about it. Why? Because Marshawn's been, I'll say, he's not been the best offensive player on the team, but he's been a guy who's been able to set the tone. He's been a guy we've been able to rely on. He scored 3 touchdowns his first 3 games, and I don't know, he just hasn't quite looked very healthy since. But if Marshawn's going to be out, who's going to step in for him? Who's going to be the running back that steps up for the Raiders? Maybe take some pressure off of Derek Carr. So I want to know from you guys, comment below. Who should be the Raiders starting running back if Lynch is out? Should it be Jalen Richard? Richard's looked really good, 31 catches this year. Should it be Doug Martin? I hope you don't say yes because I don't think it's Doug Martin. So Jalen Richard, Doug Martin. Is it someone else? Let me know. Who should be the Raiders starting running back if Marshawn Lynch is out? Next Raider rumor I got coming up. Gareon Conley. Is he going to be traded before the trade deadline, which is in 13 days? I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. NFL Network came out and said that teams are going to be calling for Conley. We all know the hype that Conley had before he entered the draft. There's a reason why the Raiders took him in the first round. But this guy didn't play a single snap against the Seahawks. There was a lot of hype of him this offseason that he's going to get it going, but he's been a guy who's been battling injuries. And maybe Conley now can finally find his upside of what he was supposed to be on another team. Because right now he's ranked as the 76th cornerback according to Pro Football Focus. And if there's a guy who I don't think is meshed whatsoever with the Raiders, it's Gareon Conley. And I think teams are going to come out and try to get him. And at this point, I think the Oakland Raiders need to move on from Gareon Conley. The last rumor I have for you guys, it's Amari Cooper, and is he going to be traded? I'm going to give this one Chucky head, small shred of truth, but I say that as a caution. And if I say it's 1 Chucky head, I mean, I really wanted to make this 2. The Raiders are currently shopping Amari Cooper. They are currently shopping him, but John Gruden denied the report. The issue why I don't know if he's going to be traded is because the Raiders won a first-round pick. Like, the fact that the Raiders won a first-round pick for Amari Cooper, I get it. If you would have told me Amari Cooper for a first-round pick his first 2 years in the NFL, probably would have went for it. But when you look at last season, 680 yards, 7 touchdowns, and what he's done this year, it's been a roller coaster ride. I really don't think the Raiders are going to get a first-round pick. But, as I said before, those first 4 years, Amari, he was really special. Or his first 2 years, he was really special. And then when you just look at it from an entire sample size of somebody from a 4 years, like, Amari was one of the only players in NFL history. He's only one of 3 guys with over 70 catches and 1,000 yards. So, Amari Cooper, is he going to be traded this season? I don't know. But in terms of could he be traded down the road? Potentially, yeah. But I want to know from you guys. Should the Raiders trade Amari Cooper? So type T for trade or type K for keep. Should the Raiders trade Amari Cooper? If we're getting a first-round pick for Amari, yeah, trade him. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So I think in that sense, I'm going to keep him for this year. Maybe next year, though, the Raiders move on.